Struck him out.
2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Walk
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Scott Geirman. I'm here with my good buddy Daniel Starkan. How we doing, man?
I mean, after that game, I'm doing great. Obviously, that was as far as Dodger playoff games go, that was the most low stress game we've gotten in a very long time. Ho hum 9-0 win. So can't wait to talk through everything with you, baby.
Dodgers take game 1 of the National League Championship Series. It feels like it was a very quick, I don't know about for you, but it was a very quick turn of the page from that Padres series. It was a big breath. I told everybody, enjoy that day. Enjoy that time. Make sure you realize, like, hey, there's still work to be done. You just got to see it, plastered in the Dodgers clubhouse here. What's up, chat? We'll get to everything. We appreciate you being here. But it felt like that was just a monumental hurdle that they were able to get over here, reset, say, we're the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. We've got this. We've got a stacked roster. When things click right, they could do damage. And what a statement. What a statement.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like they got over, a mental hurdle coming back in that series against the Padres. And they came out ready to roll tonight. Like, usually, like, we've had the debate about, rest versus rust and, how the Dodgers get a week off before the NLDS. Well, this time they were the team that had played more recently and was kind of, coming in rolling. So they were able to carry that momentum over. So I honestly think it might have benefited them that they didn't get, there wasn't a lot of time to focus on that Padres series. They had to turn the page quick. And obviously they came out tonight and were ready to go. Got a couple big runs in that first inning. And then from there, just kind of cruised the whole night. So, great game 1. We don't need to make more of it than what it is. It's just one game, still got 3 wins to go, but it's definitely an ideal start.
You say DM24 says Mr. Smiles hosting tonight. Damn right, we're here. Like, this is Sunday shows. It's great to have you in. I'm glad this coincided with my hosting night. Got Daniel Starkan on here. I appreciate you being here, man. It's always good to have you. Chat, welcome in to the 1,000 in here early. We appreciate you all across all social medias, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Do us a quick favor. Hit the like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. We're early on in this show tonight. I think I'm going to keep Daniel here for as long as we can. Just make sure you share this around. Let's have a good one tonight. Let's make this, a little bit of a game 1 party post cap. Matt, what's up, buddy? It's good to see you. Tons to break down. I'm going to let you start wherever you'd like, and then we're going to reel it back in. I want you to tell me the first thing that you're taking away from this. The biggest positive to you was who?
I mean, Jack Flaherty, I would say. I mean, 7 shutout innings. We know he struggled a little in his first start, and we also know that he's, if this team's going to go far, he's going to be a guy that's going to have to give length in his starts and be effective as well. And that's what he came out and did tonight. And it helps when your offense, gives you an early lead to work with. But he was pounding the zone. The stuff, played up well, which was great to see. There has been some concerns about that, but he looked good tonight. And for him to give them 7 innings when there could potentially be a bullpen game tomorrow, we'll see. We'll be checking Twitter here throughout the course of this show, see if Dave Roberts gives us any info, about their plan for tomorrow, whether it's Buehler or a bullpen game with the off day coming up after. But for Jack to give them 7 here and really save that bullpen that we know it has been used a lot and is going to be used a lot, moving forward. That was huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny, I'm going to put this up here just in case people didn't catch this. Gavin Lux was pulled from the game in the latter stages of the game. I'm pretty sure the first thing reported was a little bit of hip flexor tendon. A little bit of tightness there. I don't think they were too concerned about it. They did note that it was precautionary. I know Blake Williams, our big Blake Williams, is at the stadium tonight reporting. So we're going to wait on some stuff from him if the Dodgers and Dave Roberts provide an update there. So the second we know, we'll put that up there. But chat, you guys are the best in the biz at keeping us all up to date on stuff that we're missing in immediate real time. So if you see anything, we'll toss that up there. But for me as a fan, I'm just going to do this, and it might age you and I, Daniel, a bit, or, prove, who's, diehard ball knowers about, follow the Dodgers and stuff. But seeing the Mets in the postseason, puts me back to 2015 in the National League Division Series. I did a story this morning about, the history between the two of them. And all I could think about, yes, the Chase Utley slide for sure. Like that was the number one thing, but the dominant pitching that was in that series. You got Jacob deGrom. You had Noah Syndergaard at the early part of his career when he was throwing heat. Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke as the 1-2 there. In that series, that absolutely went down to the wire. I was at every single home game that series. And then you're looking back, the 06 where the Mets swept the Dodgers, and then everybody chatting. You guys, a lot of our fans, we've got a lot of old heads that, can keep us honest on a lot of this, the history and stuff going back to 88 and that NLCS series. Just some absolute history between these two franchises here. And for the Dodgers to get kickstarted in this first game of the 2024 National League Division or Championship Series, just a hell of a start. And I see people saying, yes, a 9-0 victory is a breath of fresh air for a team that playing against the Padres had us clinging to our seats every single time.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely nice, to get it off on this type of start. You're anticipating a long series to have at least one game that's not, super stressful. Definitely nice. And especially coming off that series, with the Padres, like you said. So yeah, definitely a lot of history between these two teams. Like you said, that 2015 series brings back some not great memories. Like Daniel Murphy turned into Babe Ruth. That series immediately comes to mind for me. But
yes,
yeah, this was a great start. We're not focused on 2015 anymore. This is a different Mets team, and if they're not up for the task, then this could end up being a lot shorter of a series than many people are anticipating. But it is just one game, but it's what you wanted to see from the Dodgers tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start right with Jack Flaherty. Chat, Dodgers win this one 9-0. We'll get into all the offense. There's a ton to talk about there. Breakdown. It felt like I see some people in here saying it didn't feel like a playoff game, but from what the Dodgers needed from Jack Flaherty, he made it that way because it was his ball game from start to finish. He was commanding that fastball. He's stuck with the game plan, that usage that he's had. This four-seam fastball guy, he was pounding the zone. He landed 16 of 24 first pitches for strikes. Gets 11 swing and misses tonight. Didn't completely rely on having to chase the strikeout. Gets 3 punch outs from his fastball, 2 on the slider, 1 on the knuckle curve. Daniel, what was your favorite thing about how Jack Flaherty navigated the early innings and then towards the back half?
For me, it was the way he was, pounding the zone early in counts, getting ahead of guys, like not getting himself in a position where he's behind in the count or, a couple guys are on base and he really had to buckle down. Like there wasn't a whole lot of traffic all night. Like he seemed like he was in complete command. What he finished with 98 pitches, I believe, in 7 innings. So that's pretty efficient right there for him to get through 7 in a playoff start. Only 2 hits.
Read my notes.
What's up?
You're reading my notes here, Daniel. Yes.
I mean, potentially. No. But yeah, I mean, it was everything you wanted to see, like not overly dominant, only, 6 strikeouts, which you'll take. But, it was, he was just in complete control. And that's kind of what you wanted to see coming off his last start. Like was brought in, to be, I don't know if necessarily the ace, but one of the top, guys on this staff. And he pitched like it tonight.
Yeah, the Dodgers, making a lot of, some history tonight. People saying they broke the record. I'm not sure if they had broke the record, but they were chasing the 1966 Baltimore Orioles for consecutive postseason scoreless innings. I know they broke the National League record after Flaherty threw a scoreless 5th inning here. But back to him, he was absolutely dealing through 4. He didn't have his best stuff metrics wise, but he was just like you said, he was efficient. He stayed away, from the big part of the barrel. A lot of fly ball outs, and you couple that with him pounding the zone. How big of it was him with those 16 balls in play? How big of it was him to get that defense involved to allow him to go deep into this game?
For sure. And obviously we've known that, the defense has let the Dodgers down at times, but, we're in the playoffs now and you need, the defense to be there. Like, the start, I think in the bullpen, the Dodgers have a lot of guys with dominant stuff that can miss bats and get a big strikeout when you need it. But when you look at the starting rotation, there are a lot of more pitch to contact guys. Flaherty hasn't been striking out a ton of dudes over the last couple months. Walker Buehler hasn't been striking out anyone. So the defense is going to have to work. There wasn't any really signature plays by the defense, I would say, but they were just kind of sound all night. And And look, like, I know we all love strikeouts, and it's great if you could go out there and strike out 12 or whatever, but that also sometimes gets your pitch count up, and maybe you're done after 5 or 6 innings. Like, the fact that he was efficient, getting ahead in counts, getting quick outs, for Flaherty tonight, that's what allowed him to get through 7, which, in a kind of a lopsided game, you don't want to use any of your high leverage guys. So I think that could loom large moving forward.
Unbelievable. And that'll kick us off with our first bit of super chats here. I'm going to toss this up here for the moment. Yeah, Jack Flaherty dominates. That's the official headline with this. First super chat of the night. We're just going to toss it in. Benny Caps. Ravens Moreland, yeah, my Benny Caps. Ben Kasparius shuts that down. It was great. Just to piggyback off what you said, to take those innings away, to be in that spot where you don't have to use your high leverage guys all the time. Games in hand, go from there, put Kasparius in, let him get his feet wet in there. Daniel Hudson continues to do what he does. He's continued to, at this stage of his career, he's pitched in postseason games. He's shut down a World Series, closed that out. So we're talking about, Daniel, the theme has been, and the remarkable stuff about this pitching staff right now is how coming into the postseason, it was, is the starting pitching going to get there? Is the bullpen going to be able to hold up? Well, the bullpen has carried them for a lot. The bullpen has done their damn job. The starting pitching has gone crazy. And this puts us right into here. Jack Flaherty, he continues on that. And I saw somebody in chat put it up. If this is the Jack Flaherty you're going to get, if this is the Yoshinobu Yamamoto that you're going to get, I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen some other people put it up in the chat as well. We haven't really mentioned it yet, but that's 33 straight scoreless innings from Dodger pitching, which ties a major league postseason record. So you had the Kasparius comment up there. He gets, the last one of that, which was cool to see, like you said, him get his feet wet. But yeah, I mean, just straight up dominance is the only way to describe it. Like 33 straight innings. That's like 3.5 games right there without giving up a single run. Like I tweeted in kind of in jest, like that seems like a pretty good strategy to win in October to me. Like just don't let the other team score at all. So, can't say enough about the Dodger pitching staff. Like they've been incredible.
Can't say enough. Can't say enough. It's been unbelievable. John, we appreciate you, man. Great to see you in here tonight. Again, chat, if you've got anything to get off your chest, if you want us to, steer the conversation any way, if you just want to celebrate, put up some, anything about the Dodgers, toss in those super chats here. We'll pause what we're doing, direct ourselves that way. But we appreciate you, as always, being here. John, he says 33 consecutive scoreless innings from Dodger pitching. That's all I have to say about that. Let's go. Yeah, John, it's been unbelievable. And that, that streak started remarkably following the Padres' 6-run second inning in game 3 of the DS. And since then, been perfect. Been perfect. Round that out. The Padres don't score over the final 6 innings of that game. They go on with back-to-back shutouts to end that series, take that series, join right into the NLCS. Another shutout again tonight. It's just remarkable. Like that. I really don't want fans to forget about it, because I think some might, just because they're looking at a W, but how unbelievable that type of record is, considering the biggest question mark was the pitching, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it all season. Like, how are they going to get through in October with this pitching staff? They've lost, they got an all-star staff on the IL right now. So it definitely was a huge question mark, and these guys have answered the call, whether it be the relievers, the starters. Like it's obviously been everyone to throw 33 straight scoreless innings. And I saw somewhere on Twitter, like I didn't look to confirm this, so I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm just going to trust whoever it was that tweeted it. Like no one has even gotten to third base in those 33 innings. Wow. So it's just been like, no one has really even threatened, all that much. Like there's been, a couple guys on here and there, but all the guys have been able to pitch out of it. So it's been fun to watch. Obviously they're not going to put up zeros, throughout the whole postseason. But I do think our overall confidence level in this pitching staff as a whole is the highest it's ever been right now, and deservedly so.
Yeah, without a doubt here. Mike, you're asking this. We'll put it up here right now. This just came from, Blake. He's reporting from the stadium. He said, Dave Roberts said the Dodgers wanted to be extra cautious, end quote, about Gavin Lux, get him out of the game because of hip flexor tightness. Gavin Lux is expected to be available for game 2, but it might not necessarily be in the lineup because of the pitching matchup, which is totally good. It's totally fine for me. You're going against lefties here, which plays directly into the Dodgers' strengths as a team right now with their bench. with the rotational guys that they have. So if Gavin Lux, I love the fact that they're being extra cautious about it, considering the look ahead with the pitching. You're kind of on the same train.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think, Dave Roberts even mentioned before the game, like Andy Pages is probably going to start tomorrow just because they got a lefty on the mound, Sean Manaea. Lux, even when Lux was going well this year, like he was still struggling against lefties. Like he's pretty much a platoon guy at this point, which is fine because, since he got recalled at the beginning of September, Andy Pages has absolutely mashed lefties. So I think that makes sense there. You throw Pages in the outfield, bring Kike in to play second base, and I guess it's kind of twofold because you do give Lux a little breather there. Who we'll see how his hip is feeling tomorrow. He could be available in a big pinch hit spot, but in an ideal world, you give him a day off, and then you have the off day after that, and then he should be feeling better by game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree. Anybody do anything, I want people to keep that in mind when you're thinking of Gavin Lux. It was good. It was good for them to be, very aggressive in terms of just getting him off his feet. Let's stop it right here because they're going to need him. The dude, he's been terrific defensively, staying right there. He's a spark plug on offense. He can work. We've seen him all year long, even at his lowest, find his way to work a walk, get on base, create havoc there. His speed has shown up at times, and it's very noticeable when he's out there going first or third, second to home, stuff like that. To stick with Flaherty and on that efficiency spot, what's been great for me with Jack Flaherty and looking at his game logs and his stuff, he didn't have terrific stuff. It wasn't perfect tonight, but he was pounding the zone. He was sequencing really well. He gave a lot of credit to Will Smith, someone who takes a lot of heat for game calling and those certain big spots. But this was a Dave Roberts masterclass tonight. This was a Will Smith masterclass tonight, and that enabled Jack Flaherty to go up there with a lot of confidence because you look towards the 5th through 7th innings for Jack Flaherty. In the 5th innings, pitches per inning, he goes 11 in the 5th. He needs 10 to just get out of the 6th and 12 to wrap up his final frame. And Jack Flaherty becomes the first Dodgers pitcher or Dodgers starter to pitch 6+ innings in the postseason since Max Scherzer in the 2021 National League Division Series.
Yeah, and I thought you brought up a good point. Like I thought Will Smith called a really good game tonight, and Jack pointed that out twice actually in his dugout interview with Ken Rosenthal. Kind of in the middle of the game there. So credit to Will there. I thought the sequencing was really good, like you said. Like when Jack is commanding the outer half with his fastball the way he was, like that makes his off speed that much more effective. Like when you're using the sweeper or slider, whatever he throws, off that low and away fastball, you're going to get guys to chase. And I know he only got 6 strikeouts tonight, but he did get some big, swing and misses in big spots when he kind of needed it.
Right.
So yeah, he wasn't like overpowering dominant, but he was efficient and he was just really good all night. Like he didn't have one inning where it felt like he lost it. Like he just felt like he was in control the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go to these super chats here again, guys. If you have any favorite moments or anything you want to talk about, toss those in for us here. We're going to sit right here. Ivan, thanks. Good to see you, man. Thanks for this one. Flaherty's got that dog in him. Bark, bark, bark.
Because he's from Burbank, California.
Burbank,
so.
that 818 kid, it was great. It was awesome to hear him. He said prior, right before the game started, he was able to find his mom in the stands, and that maybe enabled him to have a little bit, slower of a heartbeat. He said it really was important for him. So those type of things, those interviews, those post-game things, when you learn a lot, the extra things going on in a player's mind, that was really cool to hear him and how important it was to, just find him, center himself. He needs to have a way, just like Yamamoto. Get yourself off that, a performance that he probably wasn't 100% happy with. Goes out and throws a gem tonight.
Yeah, and Jack also talked about in that interview with Ken Rosenthal about how just kind of pitching, at home in front of his family, like is kind of calming for him. So overall, just probably a really cool night for him and his family, like to throw that gem at Dodger Stadium where you grew up going to games like in the postseason and in game 1 of the NLCS. Just really great stuff all around. Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate, or not reiterate, I want to announce this. Dave Roberts makes it official. The Dodgers are going with a bullpen game tomorrow. Opener is still to be determined, so it's not 100% confirmed there who is going to start that game tomorrow. But they're going with the bullpen game. Yeah, not Jeff Spiegel. Toss this up here. Dave Roberts makes it official. So we appreciate this one. Thanks for directing it to that way. With how the bullpen is going and has gone, Daniel, Confidence level on that. What's your first thing about hearing Dave Roberts and the Dodgers are going with a bullpen game 2 of the NLCS?
I think it makes sense, just like logistically. Like, you're either going to do it in game 2 or game 3, and the fact that you're able to save, all your high leverage guys tonight outside of Huddy, and he'll be good to go tomorrow too. So everyone will be available.
Yeah.
Will be good. And then you get an off day after that, so guys will be able to reset. And then you have 3 games in a row in New York. So you definitely want to. I think it's preferable to have Walker Buehler go in game 3, and hopefully you get some length out of him, knowing that you could potentially, be playing 3 days in a row there. So I do think it makes sense to go bullpen game in game 2. And if guys keep pitching the way they have, how could you not feel confident about that? Like, I feel like even as good as, Jack and Yoshinobu pitched the last 2 games, like, I still think we all feel most confident when those high leverage relievers are in there. Like, those guys have shown for a while now that they're all pretty much unhittable, and so they just got to go out and do their job, and hopefully the Dodgers could put up early runs the way they did tonight. Like, it's always better to be pitching with a lead. So yeah, I think this is the right plan. Credit to Dave Roberts and the front office. They've obviously put all their heads together and come up with what they feel is the best plan. And I don't always agree with the decisions they've made, but this is one that I do agree with.
Yeah. Chad, you guys are pretty locked in on the bullpen stuff. Good observations there. Yeah, Jack Flaherty doing what he did tonight in game 1, and the Dodgers not having to go with heavy bullpen usage. It enables them to do that tomorrow. It's a very fast turnaround. This is a guest start tomorrow. Excuse me, that we're at a 108 local. This is 108 p.m. Pacific time start time here. So very fast turnaround, and the fact that the bullpen wasn't taxed at all. Now you get to go in full head of steam there. And I know why Dave Roberts is feeling confident about that bullpen game there. Who would be your ideal opener for tomorrow? You think they're going to go the Ryan Brazier route? Do you think they're going to go with Landon Knack as the guy for a few and then turn it over? You more Brazier guy?
I think it'll be Brazier again, just because that it kind of worked the last time, so you could kind of map out the game in a similar fashion. So yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Like, I think Knack would be like, if the game kind of gets out of hand, like maybe he gets the last few innings. Like, I don't think they'll go to him early. I think of it more as just kind of a straight bullpen game. Let's just kind of similar to the way they mapped out game 4. Like, you give each guy a lane of hitters that they're going to face, and if all goes to plan, you should be able to get through 9 innings without needing anyone to be like a quote unquote bulk type guy where you get 2 or 3 innings out of them, especially knowing that you have an off day the day after. So I think that makes the most sense. And if you have a lead like you do tonight, then you hand it over to Knack in the 7th, and he hopefully brings you home. But I do think, like, if it's a close game, you want to use all your high leverage guys, and I do think you could get through pretty much the whole game just using those guys.
100%. Yeah. And Brent Honeywell. Yeah. Kira, you put that in there. He might factor in. Guys, it's all going to, looking at the offense and what happens there and what type of run support the Dodgers get. Sean Manaea had kind of a resurgent year for himself at this point of his career. He was an arm that was, a lot of teams saw upside with him. He's been great this year. He produced against the Phillies that I've noted. I would say after, I forgot who had the rough start against the Padres. I'm not going to go into it, but it was just a matter of, dang, I wish we had some of those, those rubber arm type of guys who went out there through 180 innings, figured it out, just set them and forget them, go from there. But it's just pulls me right back in. Remarkable stuff from a pitching staff that has just answered the bell every single time. With the off day on Tuesday and flying to the East Coast, Dodgers go to Citi Field here for the middle 3. And those games are consecutive. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going games 3 through 5. And then if necessary, game 5, if necessary, 6 and 7 back in LA. With how we saw Dave Roberts manage this bullpen, chat, it's something that we've talked about all year long, that I've loved the script and I've loved the philosophy that Dave Roberts and the pitching guys have had for this unit. It's an older group, but they're getting it done. Daniel, you've seen the same exact thing, right?
Yeah, no question. They've really figured it out, and I honestly like that. For those 3 games in New York, when you are playing in consecutive days, the Dodgers will have starters lined up for all those games, so they won't have a bullpen game in New York, which I think is big, just because when you're playing 3 days in a row, you're probably not going to have each guy available for all 3 games. So if you could get 4 or 5 innings out of Walker Buehler, great. 4 or 5 innings out of Yamamoto, great, and then you're back with Flaherty in game 5.
Right there.
So in theory, you should be able to get through those 3 games without taxing your bullpen too much, just knowing you're going to need those guys down the road. And if it does come back, to LA for a game 6, probably another bullpen game looming there after the off day, which works out well. So I do think the way they've kind of mapped this out is perfect, and I think the way they'll map out who faces what hitters tomorrow, like I do think they'll have a good game plan similar to what they did in game 4 with the Padres.
Yeah, absolutely. Lindor goes hitless tonight. Vientos hitless. Brandon Nimmo hitless. Pete Alonso gets a walk, but otherwise hitless there. Lindor with a walk as well, but they took care of business. I love the way they attacked. I love the way they were just going after hitters, not giving up. The biggest difference here is the Mets. We're going to roll this straight into the offensive conversation. The Dodgers pitching staff only allowed 3 walks here, and that was 2 from Jack Flaherty, 1 from Daniel Hudson, result in no damage there. And looking at the Dodgers, we're just going to roll this straight into the offensive talk. The Mets had 7 walks allowed. They gave up 7 walks. And we're talking with a Dodgers team that capitalized 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Breath of fresh air, Daniel?
For sure. I mean, I guess it started with Senga. Like he very clearly wasn't on, and the Dodgers were patient, which is what you want to see, and they were able to capitalize. Muncy gets the big hit in the first inning. But yeah, it definitely felt like, not too much. Guys weren't really chasing tonight. They were staying in the zone and weren't trying to do too much, like no home runs, which to have a 9-run, game for the team without any home runs, that was great. Like it was kind of a little bit of everything. We saw walks, we saw hits, we saw some small ball. So it was just a great all-around team performance. Like it felt like everyone contributed, and anytime you scored 9 runs in a playoff game, when you got a pitching staff the way the Dodgers has been going, that's pretty much a guaranteed win right there. So we'll take it.
Yeah. Cameron, I'm going to toss this one up here just because it got lost in the mix with the history between the two franchises. He says, yes, 2015, the Daniel Murphy series. That was the Daniel Murphy run where he got paid for it, and it just kind of flipped his career. That turned everything on. These postseason guys that, have this run in October and just roll it into a career, that's exactly what he did. It got him paid. It went from there. Not much else to say about it. It haunted me for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Matty Man tosses up here. My favorite moment, Mookie punishing them for walking Ohtani for the 5th time this season. It's just, at what point do we stop doing this? At what point do teams stop doing this, man?
I mean, maybe when Shohei stops being Shohei, like, it's a pick your poison type of thing, and credit to Mookie. He's come through more often than not in those situations, which is great to see. And for him, to tack on those 3 runs late, like while it probably not that big of a deal, I do think it's a big deal in the sense of they probably don't go to Ben Kasparius in the 9th inning if it's still a 6-run game. Like they did have Bonda warming up, so in an ideal world you'd love to just use Kasparius there. Let him get his feet wet because you might need him later in the postseason, and you at least want 1 outing under his belt, and B, you don't want to give the Mets a look at our high leverage guys, especially knowing now that there's a bullpen game coming tomorrow. And with Vesia not on the roster anymore, unfortunately, Bonda is pretty much your only lefty option. So for him to not be used tonight was big. So for Mookie to get that hit, while not that big when it comes to the scoreboard, I do think it was a pretty big hit as far as helping the Dodgers save that bullpen.
Yeah, at that point, when Ohtani walks there in the bottom of the 8th, it's 6-0. Mookie's able to get a ground ball down the left field line there, clears the bags, 9-0, put it out of reach, get Ben Kasparius up, let him finish it out there. Rest is history. Matty Man, it's great to see you. Good to see you in chat. Shout out to the 4,000 plus in here. We appreciate you all. Just take a quick second for us if you haven't. Hit that like button for us. Just want to get a lot of likes. Put this up there. Get the algorithm on our side here. We appreciate you all being here. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. We've got some more super chats here. Laura, I'm going to put this up here just because we missed the thing. And news came through. Hoping for a bullpen day tomorrow so Walker can pitch his first game in New York. Hostile environment. Walker is the man for the job, in my opinion. I think we both agree on that. He's shown enough. Bullpen day, off day, nothing to hate about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think you want to be up 2-0 going to New York just because, you don't want to lose home field advantage. I know it's hard to win 3 games, no matter where you're at in a row, but you definitely want to be up 2-0. And I do think, Walker is a better option for game 3. We already talked about how that, will save them from a pen game with the 3 days in a row. But I also think throwing a pen game tomorrow gives you the best chance to win game 2, which is, like I just said, you don't want to go to New York with a tied series 1-1. So it does feel like a little bit of a kind of going for the throat. Like, let's go up 2-0 here. And then we have our pitching lined up really well for the rest of the series after that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been, love the call. Love it. Again, like Blake always tells us, things can go south. It's got to be a perfect, things got to work in unison here, but a lot's going to change if the offense decides to step up, change things from there. If you receive one from the other, if the offense puts up a fight early on, just like you did tonight, get Senga out of the game very early on, you force the Mets to have to pivot. You got to see them go straight, to try to keep their offense in the game, keep them and give it, have a chance to stay in game 1. With the Dodgers tomorrow, bullpen game, I would like to see early offense again. It changes. It sets the tone. Against the Padres, same thing. It's going to be, they noted it on the broadcast, but it's true. Bullpens can be so good, like we're seeing with the Dodgers, but it's going to come down to the early parts of the game. Who's able to get that first punch? Who's able to get the first strike? And then from there, you set the tone, and then your game plan can really fall into place. Let's see here. Tim puts this up, a lot of grimacing in the Mets dugout tonight. Not a lot of happy faces. I'm sure a shutout with how they've been playing, and they've had a few days off here. I'm sure this wasn't their ideal game 1.
Yeah, no doubt. And kind of like I was talking about earlier, like, it definitely felt like the Dodgers, being the team that played more recently, worked in their favor tonight. Like they looked like the team that was ready to go from the jump tonight. And I guess it helps when the Mets, for whatever reason, decided to go with Kodai Senga as their game 1 starter, and he just didn't have it at all from the jump and wasn't able to throw strikes. So whenever you're able to put that 2 spot up, it does, help you settle in. It helps you carry that momentum over from the Padres series and just kind of keep rolling from there. So honestly, like, credit to Max Muncy, because that was a really big hit right there. Just after what had kind of transpired that inning, like, Senga looked like, he had no clue where the ball was going. And then Will Smith, hits the short fly ball. Mookie probably could have scored on that, but, he decides to be cautious there. And if Senga finds a way to get out of that first inning with no damage there, like, this could have been a completely different game. Like, that would have been a huge missed opportunity for the Dodgers right there. So credit to Max Muncy, like, wasn't trying to hit the ball to the moon. Like, he just blooped one, up the middle, and it brings home 2, and we're off and rolling.
And I thought it was big time. And I know next time Jeff is on, we'll get him to talk about Dino Ebel, because him and I were having, fuming in our stuff about Dino Ebel there. And how can't you send Mookie Betts? It felt like a great time, push that envelope, force them to make a perfect throw, get that early run. You don't just do it. Force them to make a perfect toss there. And it looks like, unless Alvarez steps up into the line to make that catch, Mookie Betts has a shot to score. Ultimately, doesn't matter. But you got to see Dino Ebel, he's a little bit tentative here. He's a little bit tentative, and you're seeing a lot of these players run through some of Dino Ebel's stop signs. Matty Man puts it up. He's a little bit too conservative. What do you like? How would you operate, some of these moments that are memorable to you? If not, that's okay. But do you feel at times he's way too conservative on his sends home?
Yeah, I do think there are times, and I do think it's a case-by-case basis. Like, it depends on the situation. It depends on who the runner is at third. It depends on who the outfielder is and what, type of arm they got. Like, there are definitely guys you don't want to run on in this league, and there are guys you do want to run on. And I think Dino does his homework and knows all that stuff. But I do agree, sometimes, you're afraid of failure, I guess. Like, you obviously, you don't want to send a guy and he's out by a mile and then it's on you. So it's definitely a lot easier to throw out that stop sign, just knowing, like, hey, like, let's just fight for another day. Like, we don't need to push the envelope here. But I do think I agree with what you said. Like, Mookie, he probably should have been going in that spot there in that first inning. Once we saw the throw, he obviously would have made it easily. So Dino definitely does need to maybe just loosen up a little bit, I guess. Like,
a little something, a little bit, maybe just like with Ohtani's, like the one in San Diego where the ball hit the umpire, different situation there, tosses it up. But there's been a number. I know I saw somebody in there that Dino's cost the Dodgers a number of runs. It's all memorable. Like, with a third base coach, yes, you're going to have to take chances there. Sometimes guys are going to get thrown out, but when it looks and feels so obvious, and then you see replays here, or even in the moment of the game, like, I want to see you in an early part of the game. Like, it's not going to alter the outcome. It might, but it's not going to say that was the moment they lost the game. because I have a very high degree of confidence that the Dodgers can score some runs. But I would like them, if they're in that spot, you've got Senga and a chance to give up some runs. Mookie Betts, man. Mookie Betts is a savvy base runner there. It just didn't look like there was a lot of intent. It didn't look like even when he was going back to tag up on the bag that he was even in the card. So he was probably telling him, give it a deke, see where the throw goes, overthrow. If not, you'll have a, hop step lead, couple things off. But if not, you're not going to be, going right on catch here. So let's see. All right. We got some more super chats. Toss this up in here. 300. This is something that I want to talk about as well. Winker's base running gaff really killed any hope the Mets had in this game. Got to go bullpen game tomorrow. Extra day of rest. Absolutely. 300. Great to see you. Thanks for the super chat. What do you make of Jesse Winker's base running error there? Well, yes, they could have had a little bit of life.
Yeah.
But when I saw it, I was like, what are we doing? How can you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, in a 6-run game, you can't be making outs on the base path like that. And it was kind of weird because it was like if he just went at first, he would have been fine. And then he stopped, and then he had a chance to go again when they threw behind him. But it felt like he'd never just committed to going to third base. Like it felt like if he would have just committed, he probably would have been safe. Like Lux didn't exactly get it out that quick, and the throw to third wasn't exactly perfect. But it just felt like Winker was just kind of coasting over to third. So that was total brain fart from him. I guess that's what they get for putting him in the lineup over our old friend JD Martinez. But
JD Martinez, yeah, like either if he got deked, like if Kike, I see people bring that up, and I noticed that too. Like if Kike deked him, and that's what happened there. But what I was saying, like if you're gonna commit, you got to commit. Yeah. Like if you're gonna commit to it, and you're caught out there, and you feel you're on an island to it, you just go for it. You got to commit. Make players make a play. Make a throw. It's a lonely spot to be when you're in the middle of a base path and you've got nowhere to go. So I would prefer you just gun it, go for it. Yeah. And he got caught out. That's capitalizing on issues. That's the Dodgers making an out. Get the out where you can. Be sure of it. And it was great. That stopped it right there. That for me was just like the dagger. I know that was just a sticking point where it was like, yes, everything's coming up Dodgers. And then where's a spot for the Mets to have some type of heartbeat? You make a play like that. Jesse Winker runs into an out. Immediately changes the tone back again. It never flipped, but that was for if there was any crack to that book that it could go Mets. Any positives? Are you big on this? That when it's a flooding, like when there's a flood going on, do your best to not allow the other team to even have a heartbeat, even in the latter stages of the game. Like I'm big on that too. Like I don't want you to have any positive going into the next game. Yeah,
no doubt about it. Like sometimes it is those irrelevant, at bats in the 9th inning of a 9-0 game where a guy who is struggling or slumping, like he just gets that one hit where it's meaningless to that game, but to that one guy, it might mean honestly everything, and it could get him going for the rest of the series. So I definitely am of that mindset, especially like early in a series. Like this is game 1. Like we still got a lot of baseball to be played. Like you want to come out and set the tone and show that, hey, we're going to be bringing it this whole series. Like you're going to have to match us, or it's going to be, a short series here.
All right. This is an area of something that continues. Like it was, Dave Roberts hate for, chat, people who are not Dave Roberts fans at all. I know we got 4,700 people watching. I'm going to say there's a handful of people, a good handful, that are not fans of Dave Roberts. But for whatever you think, Doctober is here. Dave Roberts is having an absolute masterclass with the pitching, with this small ball stuff. And it brings us right to this super chat here. Zipco Zero. Great to see you. Thanks for being a part of it. He says, your guys' opinion on the bunting tonight. I felt that each moment there was a bunt, a sacrifice, it felt like the perfect time. With what we've talked about with Tommy Edman's issues against right-handed pitching, yes, like you've brought it up to me, and I credit for it. In chat, you've kept me honest with it as well. Like if it's not perfect, I think Matty Man, somebody might have been in here saying, why doesn't he just bat from the right-hand side? So if Tommy Edman's going up there, I know he's had some RBI spots, but if you're up there, guy on first base or chance to move people over, I felt it was just a perfect time to get him over, take the out, go for it. You've got big bats right behind him there. What did you love about it, buddy?
What I love about it is it seems that Dave really learned from what happened on that triple play. Like it turns out like that triple play happening against the Padres could end up being a blessing in disguise because it definitely feels like when it gets to the bottom of the order and there's a guy on base, Dave is making a conscious effort now to say, we're not like Shohei Ohtani is going to get a chance here, with guys on base. And we know how hot he is, particularly with guys on base right now. Like he's been unreal with guys on base, and you don't want to, risk hitting into a double play and running out of an inning there, you want to give Shohei Ohtani a chance with guys on base. That's the bottom line. And it feels like Dave has realized that. And like you said, like it makes it easier when a guy like Edman is struggling, just because, like A, he could get a bunt down. That helps for sure. And B,
Yes.
like, if you're not that, confident that he's going to get a hit, at least, get a productive out of it and give Shohei a chance. And look, if they want to walk Shohei because first base is open, now you got an angry Mookie Betts, and we've seen what he does when they walk, Shohei in front of him. So I definitely think, the way Shohei is going with guys on base right now, like we just want to give him as many opportunities as possible. And, if guys are showing that they could get these bunts down, because that's obviously the big key there. Like if you can't get it down, you're not helping anyone. So, a guy like Tommy Edman, he's just a straight up ball player. Like he's getting the bunt down.
He's a ball player, man.
He's putting it exactly where you want, where you're supposed to. So yeah, absolutely.
I love me some Tommy Edman. I think I've got some, I have some funny jerseys. I mean, I think Tommy Edman's one. Like if they find a way to keep him around, I'm not going to do the 1 year thing, but he's somebody that Tommy Edman, just like you said, he's a ball player. He knows what he's doing. Mr. Tom Edman, Tommy Tanks. But the fourth inning, that bottom of the fourth, when that, the ideal scenario for this played out here. Yeah, Kira, show Tommy. Kike leads off with a single. Sharp liner, gets on there. Gavin Lux sacrifices him over to second base here. Tommy Edman up here, batting from the right-hand side he has David Peterson coming in for the Mets. And then he lines a single to right field. Kike scores. That puts it 4-0. And then right after that, Shohei Ohtani singles, Tommy Edman scores. Just unbelievable. Like that's a sequence that is perfect. That is the ideal thing you want to see. Leadoff guy gets on, someone you feel confident in, lefty on there, instead of saying, we're going to get Gavin Lux out of the game, go to the platoon thing, go Chris Taylor route, leave him in there, sacrifice it over. Tommy Edman's a very plus hitter against lefties here, exactly where you want him. And then you just manufacture runs, put it to a 4-0 game. It's moments like that, zip code zero. So yeah, 100%. We're keyed in on it. We love it. I think fans, like if you think that it's a good scenario to do it and not just bunting just to bunt, like if there's intent behind it, with plus matchups around it, I think that's when it makes ideal sense. And that bottom of the fourth inning was perfect. Let's see here. Sure. Yep. Lucas and Sadie show right here. Exactly. The bunting to turn the lineup over to Ohtani paid off tonight. When it's memorable, that's when like they've got it cooking there. How many times? Not a lot. This is not a Dodgers team that they bunt a lot. Like you'll hear it a bunch. Don't hand outs away. Don't give outs away. I saw it in text. I saw it on Twitter. People are saying bunting with outs when pitchers are on the ropes is a choice. I see that a lot. But when it works out and you look around and you say, yes, okay, well, probabilities with stuff with Tommy Edman are good. Right behind him here, you've got Shohei Ohtani. There's not much argument against it aside from just you're giving away an out.
Yeah, and I also think the context obviously matters. Like when you're ahead by a few runs and you have a chance to tack on there, like you have to take that opportunity. Like you don't necessarily need a crooked number there, but think about how many times the Dodgers have been chasing, 2 or 3 runs and, the other team tacks on a run or two. Like it feels like they tacked on 3 or 4, even though they only added 1. So, that definitely makes a big difference. And we saw tonight, like it was definitely a methodical performance from the offense, add a couple here, couple there, and all of a sudden, it's 9-0 and it's kind of a laugher. So, if guys have, show that they could get the bunt down and the situation makes sense, like you said, you like the matchups coming up, or if it's Gavin Lux in a lefty matchup, like chances are he's probably not going to get a hit. So why not move that runner over? And now, we got Shohei due up in 2 batters and chances are he's going to have a runner in scoring position now. I definitely think context matters, but tonight were situations where it definitely made sense.
And he's been unbelievable. Shohei Ohtani has been with runners in scoring position as of late, postseason, dating back end of the year, all year. When he flipped that switch, you knew he's bat to ball inclined. When he gets the bat on the ball, going to do damage here, especially in the postseason. No opposing manager wants to see Shohei Ohtani up in a spot with less than 2 outs with runners in scoring position or runners on base, because you don't want to give them something to hit, and 2, you don't want to put them on base. And then right after that, you see Mookie Betts. You see Mookie Betts, who's done it multiple times here. When it's noticeable, it means that it worked in the Dodgers' favor and you remember it. And that's something that's happened quite a bit here. Chat, again, any questions, toss those in. I'll start starting them early, but I'm going to just favorite them, and we'll revisit them in a little bit. Daniel, looking ahead to game 2 here with this bullpen game, quick turnaround. What are some keys for you immediately with the offense? Is it a matter of, I don't care about the streak. I saw somebody bring it up. They said they wished Kasperius gave up a run to take that pressure off. I don't think the bullpen, frankly, gives a damn. I don't think they're thinking about these things. They look like they're playing free. They're playing complimentary baseball. They're all understanding their roles. It was about when the bullpen's working or not working early in the year, it was about knowing your role, like playing to your matchup. And this is where the Dodgers have done it best. We talked about, I think you have brought up a big point to me about, yes, Padres might have some power arms here, and they've got one of the best bullpens we've seen. But we think the Dodgers mix and match so much better than everybody. What's kind of your key for them tomorrow in a bullpen game with that? As far as the offense looking towards tomorrow, what's something for you against Sean Manaea?
Yeah, I'll start with the bullpen first. I think the big key for them is that none of them have any egos. Like there's not set roles necessarily. Like they're all willing to pitch whenever, wherever, against whoever. And like you said, like they're very, tunnel vision on, I'm just going to get these 3 outs. I'm going to do my job. And that's all I could worry about. And that has led to success. So they really just need to keep doing what they've been doing. Like, I don't think there's really any secret sauce there. Like they've definitely cracked the code, and they just got to keep doing it. And like you said, they're not going to put up zeros, the rest of the way here. Like this streak is going to end at some point, but that's okay. And on the offensive side, Sean Manaea has pitched really well, this whole season really, and even in the postseason, but he's struggled against the Dodgers in the past. And so there is a bit of a mental warfare there where, like, if you could jump on him early, then he's going to start thinking about how he struggled, against the Dodgers throughout the course of his career. So, we'll see where he's at. Like, you expect his command to be a lot better than Senga's was today. Like, it would hard to be worse. So, we'll see if the approach is to be patient and get the pitch count up if he's kind of struggling, or if he's pounding the zone, then you kind of got to be aggressive and jump on him. So we'll see about that. He's been throwing the ball really well. So I am expecting, I'm not expecting a laugher like today. Like, I think it's going to be a lower scoring, closer game. So if they are able to get to Manaea early, that would be huge.
Yeah, Manaea has been solid this postseason here. In the wild card round, he went 5 innings, allowed 6 hits, 2 earned runs there. In division series round against the Milwaukee Brewers, he went 7 innings, allowed 1 earned run on 3 hits. So he's been dealing. But with where the Dodgers are at currently, and it plays into Gavin Lux, being available, but having essentially a day off because of the matchup here. I think that for the matchups that they have, Tommy Edman plus guy, like everybody from, I would say, like 6 up is just kind of, they are who they are. Splits wise, they're not really worrying about too much, right? As far as the 7, 8, 9, then you start to look at some splits. One, you're going to get Andy Pages in the lineup. You're going to get Tommy Edman from that right-hand side where you feel very good about. Who else are you keying in on? I don't care who it is. But who in the lineup? You can say superstars. You can say anyone. Andy Pages is going to be in there for you. And who's going to be kind of someone you're going to be looking out for there? Is it Will Smith, he didn't look really good tonight. He didn't look really good tonight. People are bringing it up in chat. Yeah, Dave, I got you, buddy. Like, Will Smith swinging through a lot of fastballs here. He goes up there, has 2 strikeouts. I know he walked. He can do it. He's had some stone cold takes. And that for me says, yes, it's in here. That's inside there. But who for you? I see you looking up. I'll buy you some time for pulling up some splits. But did you like what you saw from Freddie Freeman? Do you like where he's playing at? It looks like, he's dealing with that ankle, but he might be focused in a little bit more. I spoke about it when you're hurt or when you're sick, you kind of focus in a little bit more. You focus on doing your job a little bit. Is it Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts? Where does your mind go? Who sticks out to you immediately that's saying that's going to be someone I'm pinpointing tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of took my answer. I was going to say Will Smith, but I think you brought up a bunch of good guys. But Will Smith is a guy who's also hit lefties well in the past, and you also nailed that. I was looking up splits, Manaea against the Dodgers, and look, I'm seeing a lot of guys that have had success against Manaea. Will Smith, has a 1082 OPS against him. Yeah. Andy Pages was 1 for 2. Tommy Edman 1 for 1 with a homer. Mookie Betts has an 1100 OPS and 32 at bats. Teoscar has homered off him. So there is a lot of guys who have had, success off of him. But I do think if the Dodgers could get Will Smith going, like at any point this postseason, that just makes their lineup that much more deadly. Like, if you got a guy in the 6th spot who was basically your cleanup hitter, all season, if you could get that type of production, that would be huge. And like you said, the at-bats tonight from him weren't definitely not great. Like he has been swinging through some middle, type fastballs and stuff. He has shown a good eye. Like I do think he hasn't been chasing as much, but when he is getting those mistakes in the zone, we need to kind of see him punish it the way he did. What was it, Game 4 against the Padres when he hit that home run to center? That was probably the best swing he's taken all year. So we have been waiting for him, to get going for a while here, and I do think the matchup is good for him to do that.
That's a good point you bring up. I mean, like we know the stuff is in there. We see it. We used watch stuff game to game with Will Smith. He was someone that against like Michael King with that sinker on the hands, he's along with like Mookie Betts, pitches that are off the plate inside. I think there's not many guys in Major League Baseball that are better. Will Smith, in that 3rd inning there, he has that absolute blast. He goes 432 dead center in the top of the 3rd and puts it to a 5-0 game. I know he's struggled, but I'm not to the point where I'm saying you've got to go, Austin Barnes here. I'm banking on Will Smith consistently having these good at bats. And I bring up those stone cold takes because you're getting the slider down, you're looking at it, and then you're playing chicken with the umpire saying, you're going to call that? Stuff like that. And you see those takes. He's a big league hitter. He's a professional hitter. Yeah, BC says that he needs to wake up soon. He for sure does, because I know they put up 9 runs, but there's going to be spots just like that game against the Padres where that 2-run homer puts that from a 3-0 to a 5-0 game. It's those adding on those extra runs there where you can't, guys can be struggling, but if they're going to have their moment, they're going to find it. I would hope that it's Will Smith because he's just such a key piece to this lineup. And I love those answers from you. I'm going to say Tommy Edman for tomorrow. I'm going to say Tommy Edman has an extra base hit tomorrow. Chat, do you want me to say it's a homer? Because I will for you. I'll say Tommy Edman, catches one. He jumps on one, goes opposite field here, but he's a spark plug. That's exactly the matchup that we're hoping for it.
Yeah. Call your shot there. I love it. Call the homer.
Why not? I'm going to say extra base hit. And if you want me to say a homer, sure, I'll say a homer. I don't care. If it's an extra base hit, great. This is the lineup that it hasn't been like this in years past. It's about, okay, when there's a righty on the mound, then we're saying, yes, the Dodgers have a couple mercenary lefties on the bench that you slot in there on those days. And you feel very good about going against a right-handed pitcher. But now going against a rotation with the Mets that you've got Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana, and you just took care of business against Senga. So you're 1 for 1 in terms of beating those matchups against a righty. Now you get plus stuff against a lefty, Andy Pajes, Tommy Edman, go from there. I think that's kind of where I'm leaning. I like it. It's a good matchup tomorrow. Mike Lopez says this: I've been screaming for Dodgers to play small ball, and every podcast called me crazy. Marlins proved it in 2003 with the 1-2 punch of Pierre and Castillo. I mean, Mike, I think it's just a matter of like, it's a different game now. Like it's totally a different game. 2003, it was a different time. They play the game so different with an offense like the Dodgers, conventional wisdom with where the game is. Daniel knows, like chat, you guys know you're smart. I always give you that credit. Giving away outs isn't always the best thing, but I would say in certain samples when it works, it's a thing of beauty for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there is a time and place for it, especially in the playoffs. Like I'd say I'm more out on it during the regular season. Mm-hmm. But in a playoff game where kind of every run matters, there definitely is a time and place for small ball. And we've seen the Dodgers execute it really well. And that's the key to me, is the execution, because it's great to say, he needs to be dropping down a bunt here, but it's easier said than done. Like most of these guys, like, let's be real. You mentioned how the game has changed, and that's because a lot of these guys just simply don't know how to bunt these days the way they did in 2003. Like they don't practice it, and so you got to be able to get it down, and that's easier said than done when the pitcher's throwing 98 with a dirty splitter and slurve or whatever. So but I do think we see there are certain guys, Gavin Lux, Tommy Edman, Chris Taylor, those type of guys that could get a bunt down when you need it. So
on runs.
Yeah.
Like it's so much, Mike, thank you for the super chat, man. Like that stuff is like keeps us honest in terms of thinking that yes, teams have won on the biggest stage playing that brand of baseball. And again, like just like you said, this is the same spot we're looking at in terms of down the stretch there. I mean, Juan Pierre is all-time speed guy, all-time, bat to ball, lay it down, prove you, make the play, go for it. I'm all for getting the ball, just putting the ball in play, make the defense have to make a play more so than I kind of ever have been. With the opportunities and how tough pitching is, like pitchers are the best they've ever been. And I'm going to die on that hill. I don't care. Like, I don't think a lot of these old timers could hang around today. Different conversation. Chad, don't get on me for it. But when the time calls for it, yes, Mike, there's a time and place for small ball. With Shohei Ohtani up there, if you have an opportunity to get someone with runners in scoring position, it's a special case with a team. Yes, and the Dodgers, they haven't done it all year, and I'm sure the other teams are starting to take notice of it, that yes, there's somebody on there. They are going to move them over. They're going to take that, those outs. They're going to give away those outs for Shohei Ohtani to put a ball into the outfield there, score a run, because he's had so many hard ground balls. When there's a runner on second base, you've got to start playing more up the middle. Either you've got to cover the bag or you've got to play the infield differently. And Shohei Ohtani's had so many hard ground balls through the right side to right field. I think it's just tailor-made stuff where you can just say, we've got a high probability for some runs here. Anything more to add to that? Or we're kind of like, I think it's a noteworthy thing, but the small ball is here to stay. I would say with Dave Roberts on this current run.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't have much more to add, but yeah, if the situation calls for it, the way it's kind of worked, I would expect them to kind of keep going to it especially with those bottom of the order guys. Like, you want the way Shohei's locked in with runners on base, runners in scoring position now, you want to give him as many opportunities as possible, because that's the best chance you have at putting up a crooked number, even or even just at worst just getting that one run home, which will either help you add on or cut into a deficit, whatever the case may be. So don't have much more to add, but it's been cool to see.
100%. Chat, do us a favor here. We're going to open it up to questions in about 5 minutes here. All caps question, toss that in there and we'll get to it. Whatever you want to talk about, if there's something you want to get off your chest, make sure super chat, toss that in there. We'll pause what we're doing here. But to the 5,200 in here, we've got probably have a lot of new people who haven't tuned in, Daniel. And we just want to let you guys know at Dodger Blue, Dodger Heads, we take this stuff, we take it like as serious as it can be. We want you to sit up, pull up a chair, stay a while. We've got a lot of live coverage coming here. And just like you do, you want to talk ball all the time, listen to ball, listen to, the conversation, get in on it however you want. Give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe. We're going to be here for, everything postseason, everything post, everything into the off season, free agency. We've got it covered here. And it's a good start with this 1-0 here in the National League Championship Series here. So everybody, question, all caps question, follow it up with whatever you want to yap about. We're here to yap with you, but we're going to put the super chat here. Tony, and this is a good one because I want to get your take on the camaraderie with this team here and a lot of the stuff that's come out. And the Padres and Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado and Jurickson Profar tried to have that first punch. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. They didn't Ken Rosenthal call him like a dancing peacock or something out there. I'm going to leave that for Ken Rosenthal's words. But you got to see with Max Muncy saying 80% of you know what, counted us out. Kike Hernandez live thing. He says, because guess what? Tony says the Dodgers have been playing like they don't give a what. Kike Hernandez said it on live television. They're playing like they don't give what. So what do you make of the camaraderie with this team here and stuff that we're hearing about? They took a bus down to San Diego. They're playing together. It looks like they're playing together. Clearly they're having historic stuff with the pitching staff. What are you seeing differently right now?
It just feels like they kind of got over that mental hurdle. We saw going back to that 2022 series, it felt like they were just tense, like in all these games. And look, baseball is meant to be fun. Like, you're supposed to be, free and easy when you're playing. Like, if you're tense, if you're standing up there saying like, I have to get a hit, I have to get a hit, I have to get a hit, like, chances are you're not going to get a hit. Obviously you need to want it. And I do think we see it with these guys. Like, they definitely want it. It feels like, they're kind of more into it than in recent years, but a lot of that has to do with when you're having success, it's easy, to be more emotional, to have that camaraderie as opposed to when you're losing. So I do think that game 4 and even going back to that game 3 against the Padres, like, they didn't come all the way back in that, but they did fight, and Teoscar hits that grand slam. And and
Yeah.
then they get over the hump and win games 4 and 5. So it definitely feels like now they're playing more free, like they're more relaxed, and they're just out there having fun, and I think that's when you're at your best a lot of the time.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying here, like, the 2017 team was unbelievably special. Yeah, I'll keep it a buck, everybody. Like, the 2017 team had names on there, and they had, that friendship, and you got to see it on full display. We Teams are all who they are. Comparing eras, comparing different teams and all that, they are all individual. They all had their special flair. The 2017 team is one that I won't forget until, I croak, like forever. Like, I'll remember that. Like, that was special stuff there. All the comebacks, everything, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, just special type of stuff. Brandon Morrow to Kenley Jansen, just things that you just don't forget, right? And I think there's stuff about this team in the roller coaster ride that they've been on here, and getting through the Padres felt like such, Chad, what did I call it? I said it's the boogeyman. I said, you have to get rid of that boogeyman. And it was a division opponent in the first round of the playoffs. They took care of business there. What's up, Godfrey? Good to see you, man. It's just, this team is playing with a different type of grit. Stuff that last year's team could dream about in terms of, it was those gritty Dodgers, Daniel. But now they're playing with, it's the talent, and they're playing with situational ball. They're putting the pitching together. This is just remarkable stuff. So I am absolutely being where my 2 feet are and watching everything about them, reading everything about this team, because I'm not going to just let it go, because there's so many different elements to it. Kike Hernandez in the postseason, we all knew it. We all knew that was in there. It feels like worlds ago that, yes, he was like one of the worst players in ball, and now we're begging for him to be in the starting lineup every single day.
Yeah, no, and I think part of it is that no one's trying to do too much right now. It just feels like everyone's just trying to do their part, like whether that's taking a walk, dropping a bunt down, getting up, getting a big 2-out base hit, or coming out of the bullpen and putting up a 0 after, the offense just put up 2 or 3 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like everyone is just trying to do their part. They're not trying to do too much. And that's where you see that camaraderie. Like, you're rooting for your teammates to do well. You're, when you're showing them love when they are doing well. Like, obviously, when you put up a 0 and you come in the dugout and all your boys are tapping you on the shoulder and telling you how great you were, that's going to give you confidence. So I think that's what we're seeing right now. Like, they had to get over that mental hurdle by beating the Padres, like you said, get rid of that boogeyman. And now they've just been, it feels like they're kind of ready to roll from here on out.
And I think that's something, that even our listeners and chat, you guys are great with this, as you remember, and you've done a really good job at educating yourselves and keeping tabs and understanding, the data behind things. Daniel, same way. We do our best to keep everybody, in the loop on stuff. Is that this team has so many, finding your role type of stuff, that when those moments come up, exactly what to look for. And I think with this team, they can all do so many different things. And, with Kike Hernandez, before, earlier in the year, it was against righties. He had those reverse splits. Now it's in these opposite-handed matchups there. It's in these big moments. We've seen him do it. Tommy Edman from the left-hand side there. Shohei Ohtani, early in the year, runners scoring position. Then it became anytime. You had to just keep an eye on him. But then you got to see the situations where, yes, if there's runners on base, they're going to try to get him on, up with someone to drive him in. Mookie Betts, same thing, has to be ready with multiple guys in there. So either he needs to be aggressive and not worry about passing the baton. So I think it's just a special team from the aspect that we have seen them fall into these roles and kind of establish themselves with this team, and probably what the team has done. And we've seen that. I think that speaks more to what speaks more to less of us being, very observational, and more of the team saying, these are what these guys are going to do. This is what they're going to specialize in, and them going out and execute it. And I think that's a special thing. And I'm just trying to highlight to that as many people as I can here. Godfrey says, thanks guys for showing up, letting us vent. Absolutely. Nothing to vent about today. Nothing to vent about today. This is 9-0 ball in the National League Championship Series, right?
Yeah, tonight we're celebrating. I mean, 9-0, not a whole lot to complain about tonight. But yeah, we will be here for those other nights when it's not so great as well. So feel free to, come in and vent, celebrate, whatever. Like Scott said, we'll be here all postseason, and
all postseason.
This is therapy for all of us. Like you and Blake been doing those therapy shows all year, and sometimes it's needed, after tough losses. Sometimes it's more enjoyable after wins. So hopefully there's more, wins than losses. But yeah, these are definitely fun shows, especially after a 9-0 win here.
Keep that going, baby. All right. Let's see tonight. Yeah. Matty Man says this question: when the Dodgers play like they did tonight, we have fewer questions. Absolutely.
True.
Yeah. I mean, rhyme or reason to it. It's just they let the play for you speak for themselves. Looking ahead, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about going ahead, but their game spoke for themselves tonight. They produced with runners in scoring position. They tacked on when they needed to. They appeased everybody by playing the small ball, adding on those extra runs there. And Jack Flaherty did what he had to do, put up 7 shutty, extend that, historic streak here. So yes, there is nothing to question about tonight's game. Just a matter of keeping an eye on some players. But other than that, yeah, Matty, man, no doubt. Noah says this question, how sustainable are the recent pitching performances later into the postseason? I think this is one that's kind of tough to break down, but yes, like we can't really expect them to be flawless. Like we're not going to say, yeah, the first person to give up a run, doomsday. I think this is like 100%, 100 percentile outcome stuff. But as far as like the matchup based things, I think, losing Alex Vesia for however long he's out, yes, that's notable. But I think they have the other arms to really, cover those innings and cover those opportunities in those situations. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, like putting up zeros for, 33 straight innings and keeping that going is not sustainable. But I do think, if everyone just does their job, they're going to be really successful because all these guys are really good. And that's what we've seen. Like even we talk about a 33 straight scoreless inning streak. Like it's not like anyone had a otherworldly performance, to get there. It's just kind of like everyone has just been doing their job. And, Jack was great tonight, of course, 7 shutout innings, but that was just kind of a ho-hum outing for him. Like it wasn't like we were talking about earlier, he didn't have his best stuff necessarily. So, they've shown that they could be put up the zeros if they just do their job. That's all you got to do. You don't need to do anything you're not asked to do. Just go out and get, if you're a bullpen guy, go out and get the 3-4 guys you're asked to get, and then pass the baton to the next guy.
Yeah. John tosses it up here. He says, who's starting the bullpen game tomorrow? Is it Ryan Brazier? I'm not sure. I don't think they've announced that yet. We might not know till morning of, because it's an early game. But I mean, John, if you want to say Brazier because of what we've seen and him already doing it multiple times this postseason, I would say, yes, there's a likelihood that Ryan Brazier is going to be the arm they go with. I wouldn't hate if Landon Knack gets a start there or gets, that thing. But I think they're going to go Ryan Brazier just because of comfortability, familiarity. Taking the bump in the very first inning of a playoff game is a different type of heartbeat. It's a different type of feel. And I think that Ryan Brazier, if they've done it, the Dodgers like to do these things. So I think there's more of a likelihood than not that Ryan Brazier gets the go ahead for the first frame. Grayson tosses in this up here. Do we think after years of embarrassment, Andrew Friedman is finally letting Doc manage the team the way he feels he should and not look too into the analytics? I don't think so, Grayson. I appreciate this question. Like, I think that this is all situational based. Like they look, for the team that they have and the players that they have. In years past, there's not always the guys. Like Daniel said, not a lot of these guys all know how to bunt really well. Like with Gavin Lux, like I think that he can do this. He's athletic enough to do this. Tommy Edmonds, same thing. Like it's a matter of like personnel matters. Like if you're trying to give Dave Roberts that much credit for saying, yeah, he's just taking the reins and finding the perfect spot to add on runs, I think they look at probabilities and opportunities to add the runs. It's all situational based. Like it's all about where they are in the lineup there. Any other thoughts on this, Daniel? Like, do you have where do you lean on this question here?
I'm with you 100%. Like obviously, like what, first of all, when pitchers do their job, it's always going to make the manager look better. Like if Doc brings in, a reliever and he gets 3 outs, then great move, Doc. But if Doc brings in, a guy who on paper, that might be the right guy for that, situation, and he doesn't come through, then it's like, what are we doing? But I definitely think analytics, is still very much involved in what they're doing here, how they're mapping out, who has what lane, who's facing what hitters, how to attack those hitters. Like there's, analytics very much involved in all that. They're looking at the numbers. They're using the data to figure out how to best attack these hitters. But I do think Dave has always been free to make his decisions like in game. Like I don't think he has like a walkie-talkie or Andrew Friedman's making the call from upstairs or whatever. Like I don't think that's the case. But
do we bunt here, Andrew?
Roger that. give him the bunt sign. But no,
Let's not that
I
signs
just
to
don't.
him.
I don't think that's the case. So I don't think there's too much different as far as how they're handling things between the front office and the coaching staff. I just think
Mhm.
when guys go out there and perform, it makes all of them look better.
Yeah. Grayson, yeah, we appreciate that question a lot. Like, thank you for bringing that up. It's like there's probably going to be some questions, and there always is about, the fine line, the relationship between front office that for years, like since Andrew Freeman's been here, like they're all in on the game plan. And we had a comment that I tossed up a second ago about everybody being in the game plan. And that's just how they are. It makes for, better roadmap to 27 outs, better roadmap to scoring runs with personnel. A lot of these things are analyzed before the game, and then it plays out in real time. And they have kind of, tree branch scenarios about if thing goes this way, what do we do here? Like, it's better to be informed going in than on your heels and making a less informed decision, to the probabilities, to the analytics, stuff from that sense. Whatever you think about analytics, stuff's worked. That's how it goes. That's how the game's played, and it's working in real time right now. Dodge Lover says this. Scott, love you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Daniel, thanks for being on here tonight with me, man. This is good vibes. People called us the Smile Boys. Can you believe that? That's a new one.
A lot to smile about tonight. 9-0.
Yeah.
So I'll come on every show if they're gonna keep winning. 9-0. These are definitely a lot more fun, a lot more smiles
Oh,
than
man.
the losses. So.
Oh, man, look at this. Oscar in chat. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. I've seen your stuff all night. We'll comment on it a bit. I got you. It's good to see you in there. Big Bob, he lets me off the hook here, Daniel. He has another called shot. He says, I'm calling Shohei leadoff homer to start the game tomorrow. So he's saying, Bob, I don't know what it's going to come after. That top one, he's saying bottom one, Shohei steps in, leadoff homer to start the game. I don't think you would hate that at all. He says, Bay Area Dodger fan here, loving life right now. Let's go win for Vin. Man, I miss Vin. What do you say about this? Big Bob Johnson. Bob, I feel like you would like mow the lawn, fix a car, change someone's oil, all this before like 8 a.m. Pot of coffee in hand. Like that big Bob Johnson, big reliable guy.
I mean, this sounds good to me. If Shohei wants to go deep to start off the game, kind of ease those nerves a little, that sounds good to me. But I will say, you still made the more bold prediction, calling Tommy Edman to go deep over the Big Show. Like, Shohei going deep wouldn't be that surprising. But, but yeah, I mean, I works for me, Johnson.
Big Bob Johnson.
Big Bob Johnson.
That's crazy. Big Bob Johnson. I'm all in. Thanks for that super chat. Shout out to the 5,500 in here across all social media again. Light on questions tonight. Maddie, man, you were cooking something. Not a lot of questions today. Let's see here. I saw somebody say
someone was asking about if they should switch Kike and Will Smith 5th and 7th. I forgot who asked it, but that is honestly a topic we could hit on here. Just
go ahead, hit it. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Dropping him in the lineup because of like comfortability things, and like Kike's been very aggressive, can work counts, can tee off on first pitch. There, thoughts on that? Does that take some pressure off of him there?
I think it would kind of take some pressure off Will, as long as he's on board. I guess I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you don't want him to look at it as a demotion, because then he's like he could get in his head a little bit. But I do think the way Kike's been swinging the bat, like you want that guy up there as much as possible, outside of your superstars, of course. But I wouldn't hate it. Like I'm cool with either. Like I know this is something Blake talks about all the time as well. Like at the end of the day, lineup construction isn't as important as we necessarily make it out to be. Like I do think there's benefits to having better hitters, down in the lineup, especially when you have a leadoff hitter like Shohei. Like you want those guys in the 7, 8, 9 holes getting on base, so Shohei has guys in, to drive in. But also, like if you got guys like Mookie and Freddie getting on base, like having Kike in that 5 spot, if Will continues to struggle, that would be nice as well. So I'm cool with whatever. I do think it would make some sense, but if they want to keep it how it is, like it's kind of like a don't fix what isn't broken type of deal. Like they've been producing, they've been winning, they've been winning games. So probably it's not like you have to switch, like your back's up against the wall or anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's worth the look. Like, it's a matter of comfortability there, hitting in the lineup protection, stuff like that, game planning. I just know that Kike's been, he's 5 for 13 this postseason here. He's got a 1 dot. He's taking confident at bats. He's stinging the ball. It seems every single time he, makes contact. So there's something there. I mean, Kike is going to play. I don't think it's going to matter whether he's going to be up or whether he's going to be where they're sticking him at. It's a conversation to have for sure. It's a good point. I won't be surprised if they go ahead and do it, if it takes pressure off of him for sure. But there might be something to having, just like you said, Kike's bat in that lower part of the lineup there, just for the guys ahead of him. It all matters. It all matters. They have a certain comfortability factor here. Laura, you asked if we gave predictions. I got your super chat teed up here. I'm gonna let Daniel take his victory lap about the DS. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. Hold on. Yeah, well, we got you, Laura. I've had it up. I've had it start up here in my notes since the beginning of the show. So I appreciate that one here. I want to bring this up because tomorrow, I believe I saw that chat, you can co-sign it, but I saw that Sean Green is going to be throwing out the first pitch tomorrow. Is that right?
That is. Yeah.
Well, I like this because I was at that series. Maybe Chase Utley can do an opening slide into second base. Thoughts on this, Daniel?
Yeah, I would have had Chase, throwing out first pitch one of these games, but Manny was cool tonight. Sean Green will be cool tomorrow. Yeah,
Sean Green's a dog.
My only thoughts really. Sean Green is one of my all-time favorite Dodgers. That season he had 49 homers. Shohei broke his record this year, so I guess that is kind of the passing of the torch with him coming to throw out the first pitch tomorrow. So maybe back to that other super chat, maybe he's onto something, saying Shohei's going to go lead off bomb right after Sean Green throws out the first pitch.
Big Bob Johnson, what have you done for me lately? What a dog! What a great thing. We're going to carry that in here. Here we go. John says this: Freddie missed the third base. Is that challengeable?
I mean, too late now.
Too late now.
I think it is challengeable if you do it right away, or I mean, you could definitely appeal, and see if the umpire saw it. But once it's over, it's over.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. Any questions that you like here? I haven't seen them in a bit.
No, we just got a super chat.
They're way up. We just got a super chat here. Yeah, Lucas and Sadie show here. Jeff Kent and JD Drew sliding home back-to-back before Game 6, first pitch if necessary. Man, going into the well with those.
Hopefully there is no Game 6 necessary. It would be nice to close this in 5 and get the pitching staff, a little rest before the World Series. Still got a long way to go, but if you win tomorrow, then you talk about going for the throat in New York.
Yes. This is one I like to bring up. Noisy Ninja says Mets burned some of their arms today by putting Senga in there. Was their plan a bullpen game today? I don't think so. I mean, they've got a lot of confidence in Senga bouncing back. I know he's been hurt for a good bit of this year and hasn't really gotten off to a start. Had an injury at the very back end of the year, and it's just been a very abbreviated run for him. The Mets are kind of working with what they've got and how things played out. That's how it is. By putting Senga in there, was their plan a bullpen game? Seemed like a dumb decision considering this is kind of like spring training for him. I mean, not every team has the arms to run a bullpen game like the Dodgers, or the confidence in that. I mean, they probably could have started David Peterson and gone from there and felt comfortable with it. He's been in the bullpen and has had a revelation since moving out there. So that's something they could have done. But Senga was the guy. That was the arm. They're going to go as far as they could. But a quick hook, that's more of just letting things, get away from you in the early part of a playoff game is something you really can't do.
Yeah, and I guess they had, David Peterson was kind of their bulk guy. Like they knew they weren't going to get a ton of length out of Senga. Like even if he was on, they probably were going to get 3 innings max out of him. So that was kind of their plan. But I get what this comment is saying. Like obviously, game 1 of the NLCS to throw a guy who's had 2 outings all season is a little while. And you kind of saw what the drawback of that was tonight. Like he just didn't have it, at all whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think, Daniel, anything you want to get off your chest here before I toss up Laura and I let you just take the floor with the super chat here?
I mean, I was just going to say we could close with some predictions here.
Let's bring it up. Laura says, are your predictions on record? Daniel nailed the NLDS. I'm pretty sure she was saying.
NLDS, yes, I did. And I will say a lot of our staff had Dodgers in 5. I don't know, what did you have? Dodgers in 5?
I said 4.
Okay.
I thought they were gonna go a little bit better against Michael King there.
Yeah.
But 4, 5, whatever. I'm going on a limb and saying Tommy Edman homers tomorrow, so you guys can get on me about that rather than Dodgers in 4.
That's fair. Yeah. So let's move on to this series. I guess we'll start with Game 2. I do think the Dodgers handle their business tomorrow in Game 2. I think it'll be a little closer than tonight, maybe like a 5-2 game. Offense, gets a couple runs early, gives them a lead, and then they kind of ride it out. Going into the series, my prediction was Dodgers in 6. I wasn't on a show, so I haven't given that anywhere yet, but that was kind of in my head what I was thinking. But after seeing the night, I may amend that to Dodgers in 5, because I do think, if they if they win tomorrow and then they're going to New York with Buehler, Yamamoto, Flaherty lined up for those 3 games, I definitely think they could take 2 out of 3 in New York and close this out in 5. So I think that's what I'm going to go with now. Yeah,
I'm saying I said 5. I've been saying 5 to all my buddies. Yeah, everybody, all my group chat that's rooting against this, I'm listening. I'm taking notes, guys. Yeah. Wedding invitations are coming in within the next, year or so here, and we'll find out which one of you aren't on it for all that slander. Right on. All right. I think we can call it there. Chat, we appreciate you as always. Thank you a ton. At Dodger Blue, we do our best to bring you as much post-game, pre-game, news as we possibly can here. Blake Williams is doing some incredible reporting for us at the stadium. He's going to be at the game tomorrow. Matty, man, we appreciate you. No breaking news yet, Matt. Don't sweat it.
I was thinking the same thing.
Don't sweat it. Yeah.
Freudian slip there, huh, Scotty?
To the 5,700, we appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this around. We always appreciate you. At Dodger Blue, tune in to us. Like I said earlier, pull up a chair, stay a while. We've got you. As much chat as you need. We'll get you through the days. We'll get you through the games. We'll break it all down. Daniel, any final send-offs from you, buddy?
Well, congratulations to you. You're getting married soon, apparently.
Jeez. All right. Well, yes. Well, everybody willing it to existence. All right, guys. My name is Scott Geirman over here, senior writer, Dodger Blue. I'm here with Daniel Starkan, absolute Dodger Blue legend. Thanks for joining in, everybody. We'll see you soon. Like, subscribe. We'll talk to you later. Go Dodgers.